Hi everybody, this is Everyday Commentary, and this is a video overview of this knife. And this knife is a very interesting design by Darriel Caston called the Kadima. And what it is, first of all, it was a knife that was released on Kickstarter. It was the second knife on Kickstarter, second folder on Kickstarter after this knife, the DPS Hest. So it's a very small, as you can see, very compact, very thin folder. It has only one handle, or only one scale, so it's sort of in that design lineage that comes from the Ed Halligan Kiss. Darriel Caston and Sergeychenko have been making these sort of squarish, dog-taggish knives for a long time. It's hard to figure out who comes first. They've both been making them long enough that I think it's probably safe to say neither ripped the other off. But this one is a little different than the other squarish, dog-taggish knives in that it is a flipper. And it's a frame lock. So a part of the handle scale has been carved out to make it a frame lock. It just pops out. And to get the knife closed, you push on it, and that's it. To flip it open, you take your finger, you put it, well, if you put it here like you do with a normal flipper, it's going to hit this spot. But if you sort of roll your finger around to the front a little bit, and you clear it quite easily. The blade steel is S30V. This knife came via Kickstarter. The Kickstarter closed, there was some delays, but it came in the middle of April, so not too bad. One thing that I would note that sort of drives me crazy, and I'm not sure if it's a feature or a flaw, is the fact that you can adjust the pivot screw without any tools. By taking this pinwheel device and sort of rolling it through your finger, you can tighten it up and it locks in the pivot. It makes it easier for you to adjust the knife on the fly. The flip side of that is, this can sometimes come loose, and when it does, the whole thing just kind of gets a little... Let's see if I can show you. There's audible blade play, but you just roll your finger through it, and tighten this thing up. You do have to put a little pressure on the back to keep the screw from moving, but once you do that, and the thing comes back, and you got everything where you want it to be. You don't have to worry about using a screwdriver. You can use a screwdriver and really wrench this thing down. You can also get just about as much tension with your finger as you want with a screwdriver. I've carried this knife quite a bit, and I have to say, despite the fact that, like Emerson's, it's ground on the wrong side, making it very difficult to register precise cuts, its size, shape, and how thin it is has made it ideal. You can just drop it into your coin pocket, and you have a knife with you. The other thing is, as you can probably imagine, this is a really fun knife to play around with. The flipping action is superb. Caston really dialed in the D10 on this knife, and it gives you just a really nice, refreshing sort of pop open. Compare this knife to this knife, the Shirogorov Neon, which has a very, very nice flipping action. Very easy to do. Thoughtless, brainless, almost impossible to screw up. This knife has pretty good flipping action. Not quite as good as that, but it's just as fun, for sure, to play around with. I mean, you get some really good snappiness here. The blade shape is nice. It sort of makes it a great box cutter. It's hard to cut anything, hard to do lots of detail work, in part because the grip is so awkward. The grip here is not the best thing in the world. You're making some serious compromises by having a one-sided handle on this knife. But if you're just looking for like a convenience cutter, this is a really unique, fun, and well-designed item. And it carries very nicely. I wouldn't make this like my only knife, but if you're not worried about that kind of thing, if you just want something fun to put in your pocket, there's not a whole lot that's more fun than this knife. The other thing is these three fullers on the blade, these three grooves that were machined into the blade, they make a great way to open it slowly. So if you don't want to pop this open and startle people, you can sort of slow roll it, no problem. So that is a video overview of the Darriel Caston Kadima, which was a Kickstarter knife, and then a review of this knife will be coming shortly.